Okay, let's get into this deep dive. Today we're tackling something that honestly feels a bit like science fiction.
Right, but according to the sources we've got in front of us, it's very much happening, like right now.
Yeah, we've got pieces from an official announcement and also a blog post. And they're both focused on this new AI voice tech called 11v3.
Mm-hmm.
So our mission today is really to cut through the buzz, understand what these sources are actually claiming about it.
And why now? Why is this timing supposedly so important?
Exactly. And what it might mean for you listening.
And the headline claim, the one that really jumps out from these sources,
Oh, yeah.
they're saying the voices from this 11v3 are, quote, indistinguishable from human voices.
Indistinguishable. Wow. Okay, that's a bold claim.
It really is. And that's, I think, where this gets super interesting. So let's see how the sources back this up.
Okay.
They mentioned this initial preview event, invite only, held in London. This was back in June 2025.
Right, I saw that. And the sources stress it wasn't just like a technical demo, was it?
No, exactly. They describe it as a gathering. AI investors were there, creators, entrepreneurs, people who really deal with voice and content all the time.
Any names mentioned?
Yeah, they specifically call out people like Tim Armu and Casper Lee, among others. Folks from the creative side, the tech side.
Okay, so people who presumably know what they're listening to, and what did they think? What was the reaction according to these sources?
Well, the sources describe the reaction as unanimous.
Unanimous. What, unanimously impressed?
Pretty much, they used some strong words. Attendees were apparently left speechless.
Speechless. Okay.
And that the voices captured every kind of tone with uncanny precision. It wasn't just mimicking speech patterns.
So more than just reading words off a page.
Yes. The sources frame it as human expression in digital form, capturing everything: laughter, longing, whispers, even like loud declarations.
Human expression in digital form. That phrase, it really suggests this isn't just another small step forward.
No, the sources are definitely positioning it as something fundamentally different, a leap in capability.
Right. And they keep coming back to that core claim, don't they? The indistinguishable part.
They absolutely do. They hammer it home.
Yeah.
Not close, not almost, indistinguishable.
Oh.
But, okay, beyond that big headline,
Yeah.
they do point to some specific abilities. They say, make 11v3 a, quote, game changer.
Okay, like what? What are the specific features the sources highlight to support that huge indistinguishable claim?
So they talk about what they call it's multi-voice magic and human-like emotion.
Multi-voice magic.
Yeah, meaning, according to them, you can create audio with multiple different speakers, distinct voices, just from text input.
Okay. That's useful. And the emotion part.
That's the other big piece. They claim the model can clone your voice
Right.
across more than 70 languages.
Right.
And crucially, it maintains that expressive accuracy.
Hold on. Clone my voice in 70 languages and keep the expressive accuracy. So it's not just translating the words, it's translating the way I'd say them, the nuance.
That is precisely what the sources emphasize. They say it adapts the tone, the intonation, pauses, even things like laughter and sighs.
Laughter and sighs from text.
Apparently. So yeah, they present it as way beyond simple text-to-speech. It's about capturing the feeling, the person behind the voice,
Okay, yeah. Adapting laughter and sighs from text. That definitely leans into that idea of capturing subtle human stuff. So, okay, given these capabilities, what do the sources suggest people do with this? What are the potential uses they see?
They paint a pretty wide picture, actually. For individual creators, say someone on YouTube or making podcasts, it's about generating really natural-sounding voiceovers, reaching global audiences without having to actually speak 70 languages yourself.
Right, makes sense. Saves a lot of recording time, I imagine. What about for, like, bigger companies, businesses?
Well, for businesses, the sources really focus on efficiency and reach. They mention using these expressive voices for things like customer support bots.
Ah, okay. In multiple languages.
Exactly. Claiming it could massively cut costs compared to hiring human agents for every single language you need to support.
Okay, cost reduction and support is always a big driver. Anything else for businesses?
Yeah, they list quite a few things. Creating more engaging e-learning content, quickly building out YouTube channels with voice material, generating audiobooks.
Audiobooks, interesting.
Developing more natural virtual assistants. And another one that they mention is cloning a specific brand voice.
Like a company's official voice.
Yeah, to keep that consistent sound across all their audio stuff, marketing, ads, everything.
Yeah.
In any language.
So it seems positioned for both the solo creator wanting maybe more creative range and also the big company looking for efficiency and, global scale.
That seems to be the angle, yes.
And speaking of getting it into people's hands, one source highlights a pretty big incentive right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They flagged this 80% discount, specifically for users who sign up themselves, the self-service users, through the UI.
80%. Wow, okay. That's a massive discount. That definitely lowers the barrier.
It really does. And the sources are clear. This offer is good until the end of June 2025.
Got it. End of June.
They basically call it a no-brainer if you're involved in creating, any of the things we just mentioned. YouTube stuff, audiobooks, e-learning, bots.
Right.
And they also sort of hint that a public API for developers is coming soon on the horizon, suggesting even more ways to integrate it down the line.
Okay, so that big discount really feeds into their narrative, doesn't it? That this is the moment, get in now, the future is here kind of thing.
They lean into that really heavily. They even make this very specific prediction about this year.
Oh, yeah.
They state that 2025 will be remembered as the year AI voices crossed the uncanny valley and started shaking hands on the other side.
Cross the uncanny valley. Okay, for anyone listening who isn't familiar, that's generally that creepy feeling you get when some artificial is almost human, but just off right.
Exactly, that slightly weird, unsettling feeling. And the sources are claiming 11v3 gets past that point.
And the shaking hands on the other side bit. That sounds like they mean it feels comfortable, natural to listen to, not just technically accurate.
That seems to be the implication.
Yeah.
They frame 11v3 as a bridge, connecting you to a global audience, connecting brands and consumers, creators, and their fans.
A bridge, okay.
And they wrap it up by saying it's the future we dreamed of in science fiction, only better because it's real.
Right. Very optimistic framing.
And they make a point of telling you, the listener, you're not too late, you're right on time.
So positioning it as the start of something big, a movement you can join now.
Pretty much, yeah. That's the vibe they're giving off.
Okay, so let's try and bring this all together from these sources. We've looked at 11v3, this AI voice model.
And the really bold claim from the sources that its voices are indistinguishable from humans.
Right, and the features they say back this up, like the multi-voice capability, the multi-language cloning with expressive accuracy.
Yeah, capturing size and laughter and all that. And we talked about the potential uses they see, from content creation to business applications like customer service and marketing.
And we definitely highlighted that specific offer. The sources mentioned the 80% discount for self-service users via the UI, available until the end of June 2025.
Don't forget that deadline.
Absolutely. And the sources call it the sound of 2025 because they really seem to believe this is the year AI voice crosses that uncanny valley threshold.
Yeah, they conclude by saying the future isn't just written, it's spoken. And that this tech puts that expressive, borderless voice right into your hands.
Which leaves us with a pretty provocative final thought stemming directly from these sources.
Okay.
If these claims are accurate, if AI voices have actually reached this point of being indistinguishable, of capturing full human expression, what does that really change?
Yeah, how does that shift things?
How does it change the way we communicate, the way we create content, how we interact with information, with tech? What new doors does that actually open up for you?